Welcome to the ShareGroup webinar series. I think this is number 9. We're excited to have Shashank, CEO of InstaMortgage, with us today. Thank you all for joining. I think one of the things that has been on everybody's mind is what AI should I engage with? How can it help my business? I don't want it to turn into a situation where I'm spending a lot of time to figure out that it's really not improving or helping my productivity. We've all used ChatGPT to rewrite content. Everybody's done that. There's going to be lots of things that get adopted in the next year. We want to talk about the tools that are available and those which give you kind of a quick ROI with not a lot of time invested to automate maybe processes or services or outreach that otherwise we know is going to take us a lot of time at the computer and maybe it just doesn't get done. So because we had a webinar with Shashank a couple of months ago, and he's talked about some of these tools, I'm like, let's do a deep dive on those, and let's let our community know what you know about those technology and those tools available today, and maybe what we could start to implement, very quickly. So Shashank, thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear what you have to say on the topic, and we're excited to get started.
Thanks, Tim. Always exciting to be on a ShareGroup webinar. This is my second time here, and hope you guys like me enough to bring me back again later this year. We'll find out. But as Tim mentioned, I think all of us on this call probably have used ChatGPT, and so this is probably slightly more than basic AI training, because I know probably most of you guys have seen it, done it, and you don't want to get into another training where half the training is about concepts of AI or where AI is heading and why it's important. I guess by now most people know that it's important, and the reason why you are on the webinar is probably you understand it more than anybody else. So I'm not going to bore you with slides here. In fact, I have none today. This is probably the first time I'm presenting with no slides at all. But as Tim said, he wanted to make it his brief to me, and his directive to me was to make it as practical as possible, talk about tools, so people don't just get the concept about what is AI and how they should be using it, but they should actually, after the webinar is done, be able to implement some of these tools as quickly as today, hopefully. So that's what my goal for this webinar is in the next, say, 30, 35 minutes I have. I'll open it up for questions if we have, say, the last 5-6 minutes or so. So that you can ask it. A couple of words about me before I dive into the presentation here. Of course, I run InstaMortgage, which is a mortgage company, and that actually gives me a guinea pig, so to say, for test some of my ideas into the AI world. So I don't just come and talk about AI without trying and testing that myself. So in fact, a lot of things that you will see today, it's something that I have seen in action. I have tried in the past, and I'll actually show you some of the examples from our own experience at InstaMortgage. I also went on to build a generative AI company called Insta AI, which again is being used by real estate agents and loan officers in multiple different organizations now because of the success that we have had internally. But really my goal and my passion around AI is to use AI as a coach to enhance your productivity, to become a better version of you, versus a lot of doomsday talk about AI replacing you. That's really not my concept, and that's of course not my mission. Is really help you. To that effect, I have a book called The AI Coach coming out in a couple of months. So hopefully you guys will check out when that happens. And I also have a course coming out called the AI Coach Academy that you guys can get access to sign up at the end of the class. You don't have to pay anything, so don't be on the edge of the seat or looking for your wallet. There's an early access. All I need is an email. So yeah, there's nothing to pay. So there's nothing that's getting sold to you in this class. Just focus on the content. This is being recorded. Let's dive into my goal over the next 30 minutes is to probably show you 3 tools. I don't want to overwhelm you by showing too many. I also don't want to underwhelm you by just sticking to, say, ChatGPT for the entire duration of the presentation. So let me share my screen. But before I show my very first tool here, I did want to show you a quick reel that I recorded after I got off the stage at Housing Buyer AI Summit in Dallas last year. And even though I said I'm not going to talk about the potential of AI, I just want you to watch this 90-second reel that I recorded. Hopefully in 90 seconds, you can get the magnitude of what AI is capable of. So let me start with that, and then we will jump into the tools. So the video I'm going to play is this one.
So Uber happened because of smartphones. The smartphones happened because there was GPS, which was enabled because we had satellites. Satellites happened because of rockets, which happened because of combustion engine. And all of this happened because we invented and discovered language and fire. But it took us 200,000 years to go from language and fire to Uber. If you think AI is at the language and fire level today, it will get to the Uber level in 20 years. Imagine. 200,000 years to 20 years. And I say this is because every foundational technology in human history, think from pickaxes to plows, or pottery to photography, or planes to phones, they have all followed one immutable law, which is they become cheaper, they become faster, and then it proliferates everywhere. And a new technology today does that way faster than every technology before that.
So that's just my idea in terms of a larger context of AI, is that what happened in 200,000 years of human history and evolution could happen in 20 or less, given where AI is going. So that's really my 90 seconds on what I think about AI, not getting into a lot of theories and everything else that you had heard of. Let's pause on that. Let me show you another video here.
Want to increase your credit score? Don't make these mistakes. Number 1, don't pay off collections immediately. If you pay, it may get marked as recently paid, which could lower your score. Instead, negotiate with the collection agency to have it deleted. Number 2, don't close old accounts. Old accounts, even with low limits.
I won't play the entire thing. And then I'll play another example of a similar video. And hopefully all of you guys.
Inflation. According to CoreLogic's Home Price Index, U.S. home prices are projected to increase by 4.1% from December 2024 to December 2025. While the Northeast is experiencing strong growth, some areas like Provo, Utah, are at risk of price declines. Factors such as proposed tariffs on imports and recent wildfires in Los Angeles County are expected to raise building material costs and delay construction, potentially impacting future home prices. The states with the highest increases in year-over-year home prices in 2024 were Connecticut, where prices were up 7.8%, and New Jersey, which saw a 7.7% increase. Hawaii saw the largest decrease, with home prices falling 1.1%. It was followed by the District of Columbia, where home prices fell 0.7%.
Pause on that. What are the two common elements of the last two videos that I showed you? One on Instagram, where I talk about credit scoring, or what not to do, and if you want to build credit score quickly, and one which is housing headlines. That goes out to our entire database every Friday, which is what you're seeing on the screen. So I don't know if you have access to chat, but the common element between these two videos are, one is probably easier to guess, what you're seeing on the screen right now on Vimeo, is that they are both AI created, right? In this example that you're seeing, Rachel, who is the spokesperson for InstaMortgage, is an AI spokesperson. The other video that you saw on Instagram, in which I was talking, I wasn't actually talking. That I did not record that video. It was my AI version that recorded that video. So that's the common element between these two videos. And the platform that we use to create that is HeyGen. So and the reason why I'm such a big fan of HeyGen, and we have been doing HeyGen now for over 6 months. You will see we have 76 videos, actually more. Some of it we may have deleted it, is because it gives you the ability to create videos at scale without you being present, without you know, say, video editing skills. And a lot of these avatars that they have, and by the way, I'm going to walk you through an exact video creation. So it's, again, not just theory that I'm going to tell you about HeyGen, and you have to go figure out how to create like a video that we just did. I'm actually going to walk you through it. So what happens is that the couple of the biggest reasons why people don't create videos is that, one, just lack of time. It's like, I'm doing 1,000 things, I just don't have the time to do it. Second, not everybody feels comfortable being in front of the camera. Why I like HeyGen more than there are couple of other platforms that do avatar kind of AI videos, is that all their avatars are actually real humans. So you see Rachel here, or you see, I think her name is Chloe. All those people are actual humans. What that means is that HeyGen actually got these people in their studio and actually recorded several minutes of their video and then created an avatar out of it. So they look very, very non-AI-like. They talk very non-AI-like because it's actual human voice. And they go a step further. As I said, you can create your own AI twin, so to say, which is what I have done. So a lot of video, the Instagram one that you just saw, and several other videos, even in the history I will go. There are several other videos that has been created by me spending only about 5 minutes. So the way it works is that you record yourself, like this could be a recording, for example. I can record myself for 3 minutes talking about any random topic. And then I upload that on HeyGen, and then it creates my avatar. And the next time I want to create a video, then this is how I will do it. So if you're in HeyGen, heygen.com, don't talk, the pricing is probably, I think, between $50 to $75 a month, depending on what kind of plans you have, or you also have pay-as-you-go kind of a plan. So you hit create, and then you say avatar video, for example. You pick whatever portrait or landscape you want. And I'm going to set up this video is because it takes a few minutes to create it. And then we'll jump to the other two tools, and then we'll come back to it at the end of the presentation and see how the video came out. So portrait is where most of the people are creating videos these days because of Reels and Shorts and TikToks. So let's say we want a portrait video. And then, as I said, you can choose your own avatar. So I have, say, 2 different avatars of mine. Or in this case, let's go pick one of the hundreds and probably even thousands of avatars they have. So pick one that works for your audience. For example, I'm just going to pick the first one that I see here. And even with the same avatar, you have them in 4 different kind of outfits. Pick again the one that speaks to your brand. I'm just going to pick the first one here. And then it's as simple as you drop a script and it's going to create a video for you. So again, just for preparation for this webinar, I picked one of the top housing news from today, which is Fannie and Freddie have now stopped several of the programs that was available before. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop this into HeyGen. By the way, the longer the script is, the higher it's, the longer it'll take for it to form a video. But I'm going to just leave that, add a pause section here maybe. And just leave it actually with that length because I don't want to extend the length of it. And then once we come back towards the end, then I won't just show you the video that it creates. I'll also show you several other formats in which the video can be created. For example, one thing that I can show right away is that, let's say if you're doing a luxury listing and you want to appeal to an international audience. I don't know, maybe in your market, a lot of people from China are buying luxury property. I come from Silicon Valley, where at one point of time, almost 20% of home purchase were being done by foreign investors in the market. And let's say your data says that's a lot of Chinese investors are buying in your market. It's as simple as you take the translate from here and change it to any language that you want. So you can say, even a language that you don't speak, you can apply to it. And now I can create a video in Mandarin. And this could be your avatar talking Mandarin, by the way, which will be extremely cool because now you could be talking 50 different languages. But in this case, your avatar will be talking it. I'll switch it back to English right now because at the end of it, I'm going to show you how the video looks like. And I want most of you to understand it. Actually, I can just switch it back to the original accent. And let me just paste the original content here. Sorry, I think I need to change the language. Doing it on live television or live webinar, sometimes it's like, okay, here you go, English United States. So I'll leave it there and we will come back. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hit the submit button. So I'm not going to get into like a full mode HeyGen demo, so to say, but it's enough for you to understand how it is. So I'm going to do this, share webinar, and probably leave everything else the way it is default, and submit. Okay, so it's loading voices, is doing its thing. I'm going to leave it the way it is here, and I'm going to jump to, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to jump to ChatGPT for a while. But again, I'm not going to show you the basic use of ChatGPT, which most of you probably are aware of. I'm going to use it for 2 different things, if time permits. And the first thing I'm going to use is ChatGPT itself, which you guys are used to using, I would assume, but not just for one single prompt. So most of the time we're used to using ChatGPT for write me a listing description, or you would have written something and you want the ChatGPT to make it better. So those kind of basic stuff that you might have played with. What I'm going to create with ChatGPT is an entire campaign. And we have probably about 6-7 minutes, so I'll go as deep as I can. But by then, hopefully, you will get the drift of how it's done. So let's say I'm a real estate agent. I'm assuming most of the people on the call are definitely from the real estate industry, and most of you are probably real estate agents. So I'm going to assume I'm a real estate agent in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I will start from a clean slate here. So I'll say I am a real estate agent. And I should have probably created some of these in Las Vegas. I would like to know top 10 things people are searching for when they are buying their first home here, right? And excuse my spelling. One of the AI will fix that. And so what I'm trying to do is that I'm creating a campaign from scratch, not even knowing what people are searching for, not even assuming the fact that these are the things people are looking for. I'm going back to basics using ChatGPT for research right now. I'm not creating any content. I'm just doing my research. So the research starts top 10 things people are often searched for, and this is based on data that ChatGPT has. It's some of these things, which as a real estate agent, some of these are commonsensical, I guess. If you have been an agent for a period of time, you will probably know, yeah, these are the things people typically look for when they're looking for this, right? So now that I've done my research, I can say, okay, my next thing is I want to create a 30-day blitz. Let's say you want to completely own online presence, for example, for next 30 days around first-time home buying, right? I want to create a 30-day blitz around this content. Can you help me create a content calendar? So it's not just social media calendar, if you'll notice, around blogs, videos, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm assuming those are your platforms of choice or content creation of choice. If you have TikTok, if you have something else, that's fine. And videos, I can say maybe YouTube, right? And so with daily publishing ideas. So my first step was to do a research in terms of figuring out what is it that people are actually searching for if I'm addressing first-time home buyers in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now that I've done that, my second step is, okay, now I want to, in the next 30 days, people should see me everywhere. That's what my plan is, but I don't have time to create all of this. So I'm asking a large language model like ChatGPT to help with this. Claude does a great job of this as well. I've been a fan of Claude now for a few months, but doesn't matter if you use ChatGPT, that's totally fine. It's a great platform by itself. So it starts with introduction and basics, goes into day 1, day 2, day 3. So you're publishing something every single day. If you find that this is a little too much, you can say, let's just stick to just one publishing thing one per day. So you don't have to do all of this stuff. But this is great that now you have a calendar. Now the next step is, okay, this is great, but I don't have time to create so much content, right? If you are a busy real estate agent, even if you're not, I can't imagine somebody creating 3 pieces of content regularly. Posting is easy, you can copy paste stuff. But posting by creating 3 pieces of content every day becomes very hard, right? So your next step could be is that, let's say I am starting with this, right? I like the blog idea on day 1. Can you write me an SEO optimized blog post in, say, 500 words, right? So it's basically, we are using the funnel. We use ChatGPT to do the research first. Then we drop to create a content calendar. And now the content that I like in that calendar. So first of all, you can go and trim those calendar down to whatever you want. And then every piece of content that you need to publish, you can ask ChatGPT to create it, right? So now it's creating the entire blog post. You can create videos, you can create social media posts. And then all you really have to do, or your assistant has to do or something, is really just copy paste this to the platform of your choice. So you're creating 30-day of blitz where people see probably 100 different pieces of content that you're creating with a time investment of probably less than 60 minutes. And that includes publishing your content. And that's the way you should be approaching marketing with a large language model or with ChatGPT, not just one time saying, fix my content or write me a listing description. Put your marketer's hat on and think from a bigger funnel, is that bigger research, and then drill it down, keep drilling it down until you get the final content to publish. And not just that, you can then drill it down even further and say, now the leads that I'm getting, I want to create email marketing campaigns to them, right? So 5 people responded to my Facebook post. How do I market to them? How do I respond to them on Facebook? How do I do the email marketing to them? All of that you can do. So you can be a brand new real estate agent in a market, and in a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day blitz, you can see a lot of people contacting you, reaching out to you, or you are seasoned, does not really matter. This is what is capable from a large language model like ChatGPT. So again, given how much time we have, I'll pause on that tool, and I'll go to something else, which is one of my absolute favorite tools out of everything.
Shashank?
Yeah.
Shashank, before we jump to the next one, one of the things I want to ask you, so on the video content that you showed us first, you are prescribing the content, whether you generate that from a chat GPT or whether you write it as your own content, it's going to be parroted through the AI person, right? One of the things that we've had debate around in our business, and maybe it's a topic for the others on the call, is that we have a difficult time finding chat GPT content that sounds like our voice. And instead of us just going, we'd go, Drew, that's chat GPT, get rid of it. It doesn't sound authentic to us. Right. So any thoughts on how you can make chat GPT really mimic your voice as it does on the video side? You don't, right? What do you think about that?
2 or 3 things you can do about it. One, treat large language models sometimes as first drafts. Don't treat it as a final version. The first draft comes out, say, and then you can keep drilling on it until you get the final version. One of the ways ChatGPT works really well is that you give all the instruction the first time to do it. So I can possibly try it as that. So for example, it created a post like this. And I could have said, okay, and one of the ways I've seen ChatGPT work very well is that you give it all the prompt the first time, it creates a content, and you repeat the prompt again. For example, I just in the last webinar I was doing a couple of days back, I said, write a post for Miami, make it sound like Miami, right? And so it created content which sounded like Miami. But what I did was, after it created content, I said, make it sound even more like Miami. So the second prompt, the second output actually sounded so local that I had real estate agents from Miami, and they're like, that's exactly how we talk here. And I did not even know that. I'm not from Miami. I've never lived there. But I said, make it sound even more like this, right? Then it took one step further. Then it had to think again that because I have already done all the Miami things, and now I'm being asked to do it even more Miami. So it's doing that. The second thing you can do is that you can actually upload your transcripts and say, these are 10 of my transcripts. This is our voice, so to say, when it comes to creating video content. What you learn from it, and based on this, create 5 content around this. It should be able to do a much better job of it. I've done that. The new book, for example, the AI coach that I'm writing, some of the research that I did using Claude and Perplexity and ChatGPT was doing exactly like that. I would upload a chapter that I've already written, and I'd say, read through this chapter. And in using the voice of this chapter, come up with some of the research and case studies around this topic and write it in the language that I have written. Then it did a much better job versus when I was asking it to write without any context or without any writing samples to begin with from that example. So those couple of tips should help it make it better. And worst case, treat it as a first draft, as I said. It's much better than you spending 50 minutes, an hour to come up with the first draft and then fix it. You don't have to copy paste the entire script, which is if it still does not do that. So those are some of the things that I've tried in the past. Data analyst, as I said, is, by the way, this comes under Explore GPTs. So when you go to Explore GPTs, there are hundreds and thousands of, including we created our own. So if you search for InstaMortgage, it has, so we were the first mortgage company in the country to create our own GPT here, but that's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you data analyst here. And why data analyst is important is because, let me see if I can pull up a data. I think I had a mortgage interest rate data here that I can use. Okay. And what data analyst does that, and this is independent. I have friends who are data scientists, and in their opinion, data analyst is as good as an undergrad data major. So it's probably not at a grad or a PhD level yet, but an undergrad data major is about $70,000, $80,000 a year. So think of that. If you are a lot into data analysis, which you should be if you're a real estate agent or a loan officer or run any of those companies, that's something you should be good at. But if you're not, I'll show you with an example like this how good data analyst can get. And I don't know what kind of results we'll get. This is again a live demo or a live showing you how the tool works. So we'll work with it. So we'll start with, again, with everything that I do on large language model, you will see a pattern. I always usually start with something very wide and then start drilling down slowly and slowly into what I really want from that kind of a thing. So I'm going to start by asking it, what are the top 5 highlights from this data? And if you'll see, I'm giving it no context at all so far. I'm not telling it what this data is, what it's going to do, and I'm letting it figure it out if we can. If it doesn't, I'm going to probably give it more context, but let's see if it can figure it out. It has a title, so I'm assuming it will be able to figure it out. It does. So what it does is that it breaks the data into different periods. It says 1981 was when the peak of the interest rate was. You have 18% mortgage rate. It was due to aggressive Fed action to fight inflation in the early 80s. And then the long-term downward trend for the next almost 30, 40 years, the mortgage rate kept going down until we hit the lowest point of pandemic era lows. We see a sharp rebound in the post-2021 era. And now we are just about seeing about narrowing a spread between 15 years and 30 years. And so this is great. I mean, this tells me about the past of mortgage rates, but does not really help my business a lot. Other than making me probably sound intelligent, that I know the facts about mortgage rate, it does not help me with anything. So what I'm going to ask is, based on what you know about macro and micro economic indicators, give me 3 ranges of interest rate in the next 2 years and explain your reasoning. So I don't just want it to tell me it will be 6% or 6.5% or 5.5% or whatever. I want to see why is it predicting those interest rates, right? So it says base case scenarios rate stays between 5.5%, 6.5%. Is because of this reason, because of a sticky inflation, because Fed is still cautious on cuts and the economy is still resilient. The bullish scenario for us, bullish meaning the lower rate, is that, but the probability of this is moderate, is that you have rapid disinflation. So we lose jobs, we get disinflation, Fed starts easing the rate sooner, the wars probably die down, there is lower oil and commodity prices. All of that pushes the mortgage rates further lower to about 5.5%. Or there could be a bearish scenario where inflation hikes up and all of that, and we get to 6.5% and 7.5%. TLDR, if you know that, too long didn't read. If you just want to read the summary of this, this says this is the base case, this is the moderate case, this is the bearish case. Let's say you're a real estate agent. Let's take the Las Vegas example again. I've said, okay, this is great, right? How does it impact even more? So by the way, I'm already sounding way more intelligent than probably 99% of the people in the mortgage and real estate industry, but make me sound even more intelligent. And not just that, give me real data point that I can use in my business. So what happens in a base case scenario to home demand in Las Vegas? And I could have gone slightly less narrow. I could have gone at the country level, state level, but we don't have that much time. So I'm going to move slightly quicker and see if it's able to pick up. Will there be any difference in demand in different zip codes. So now I'm drilling it down really hard to where I am in the market. So I'm saying, okay, if the base case scenario stays, which is 5.5 to 6.5%, how does that change the housing demand in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? So 2025, 6, this is what the demand looks like. At zip code, will there be any changes? It's drilling it down now to Summerlin and Henderson. If you know the Las Vegas market, those are the two biggest zip codes, and probably the only zip codes. And why it'll have different impact on those two zip codes. The Summerlin, Henderson are slightly more affluent. People from, say, California move there. They might have slightly different in demand than, say, more price-sensitive areas like these zip codes, where if the rates stay over 6%, then they will have a different price sensitivity. These are heavily, and then you have microeconomic triggers because Las Vegas, Nevada gets a lot of migration from California, Arizona. There are a lot of investors who are buying in that market. There's a cash buyer activity, and all of that, and then gets summarized into this. So again, without drilling down further, I could have done a national forecast. I could have done a Nevada forecast. I could have done a Las Vegas forecast. I could have done a separate zip code level forecast. And then, by the way, I can take all that data, go back to ChatGPT, use that research in a PDF format or something, upload it and say, based on all of this, give me 3 different marketing ideas if the rates were to stay at baseline, at medium level or the elevated level, and what could I do if I'm a listing agent trying to attract more listing? And again, go through a 30 days calendar on the social media /content, and then be able to publish it. So you can see that once you start connecting different dots, once you start opening your minds to wider possibility and not just fix this writing for me, which is what most people say, oh, that's what ChatGPT does. It writes listing description for me, or makes my writing slightly better, or sounds robotic or something. But if you start using some of these things, tool, especially like data analyst, Perplexity does that. Now every large language model does it. I could, in fact, get into somebody who has a master's in say, economics or data science, and get to that level, because that's how good data analyst is. You don't need to. You need to stay at what's important for you. And this is how you can get more from it. So I'll take a pause on that before I go back to HeyJane, because we are coming to the last 10 minutes of it, and see how did our video come out. But Tim, Drew, any questions so far on data analyst tool of ChatGPT?
There was one question from Michael. Any positive or negative effects on social media algorithms using these types of videos?
No, so it's not a positive or a negative impact on it's the engagement that you create from that. And also, we are not suggesting that if as a replacement, again, this is how I started the conversation, is that I want AI as a coach for you, not as a replacement. So hopefully you are creating your own, and the times when you're not, so a breaking news comes out and you are busy because you have 3 back-to-back meetings and you want a video to go out because you're creating that, you should still create it and get that out. So if you go to my Instagram post account, it's not as if all my videos are AI generated, but a few of them are. It's because and housing headlines, for example, the video that I showed you, all my loan officers used to send weekly housing update or mortgage rate update in a very boring text kind of a format before that. And we are seeing much higher open rates with videos like this, is because this is way more interesting for people to watch. In fact, 1 week we did not send it, and a lot of consumers, actually, a lot of our borrowers asked, did something happen, and did we start sending these videos? Nobody asked before when we were sending boring text videos on, oh, mortgage rates moved 6.5% and this happened to economy. So just more engagement from that perspective. And then the final, again, as I said, let's go back to HeyJane, and hopefully that video, this is the share webinar. I think this is the one, actually, the untitled one. And let's see how that come out. And I'm going to get the closed caption on here because most platforms will have the captions. You would want to publish it with captions. So let's play this.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's federal regulator has unleashed a flood of orders implementing sweeping changes that rein in programs and practices designed to boost lending in minority communities, protect borrowers from unfair or deceptive practices, and assess risks associated with climate change. The orders were published on the social media platform X Monday and Tuesday, without further explanation, by an account registered to Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA. Director Bill Polt.
So, and you can do several things. What you saw as my final version of the video is, of course, we do some transitions with it. You can create all of that stuff. So you can download it and do whatever with it that you want to. You can create long form content. You can do all of that stuff. What's really cool about one more feature that HeyGen has, which is a more advanced feature, is you can't just create your own avatar to create videos. You can actually create your avatar to train everything that you know. So it becomes like you. So that's something we are experimenting with, which is that if someone were to come to your website and asking you questions, your avatar will be able to answer questions just like you will be able to. So you train your avatar with your knowledge base. It actually becomes your clone, so to say. Again, not to the level where I'm not, again, saying a replacement of humans, but imagine if people came to your website and your avatar was able to answer the questions almost as good as you are, and that can happen if your avatar was trained on all of that stuff. So and the final word on this, and we will see if there are any questions, is that even if some of these things are not perfect, understand that you're getting at ground zero on this one. If you get in there now, these things, even HeyGen in the last 6 months, you have no idea how it sounded and looked 6 months back to where it sounds and looks now. So if you get in now, instead of saying that, oh, it does not sound the way it should or does not look the way it should, I would highly encourage that instead of being in that mode of this thing doesn't work versus let's get in now when I can still figure out how it gets done, versus the entire world getting ahead of me, is that once you get it done, once you are in it, then you only have to catch up to the upgrades. You don't have to catch up to how did it all start kind of a thing. And that's the way we see it, is how we have implemented AI in our company. So we built an entire generative AI platform, and I'm not going to give you a demo of this, but Mortgage AI, for example, takes hundreds and thousands of pages of knowledge base and answers every single question that a loan officer and underwriter has. It used to take minutes, even hours for some of this research before. Now it takes seconds to figure out every single loan limit in every single county of the country, which is hundreds and thousands of data pieces of information, to creating any kind of content that they want, a blog post, email, videos, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, to is improving their sales skill by doing role playing with all the personas that we have created. We have created 11 different personas of home buyers, and we are doing one for real estate agents, for home sellers as well, and creating a master coach like Zig, which has been trained on everything related to sales in real estate and mortgages, on how to improve your sales level. So getting coached by somebody who has the expertise of all the top sales coaches and trainers and speakers of last 20 years built into one coach. Imagine how much that would have costed you. So this is not a demo of the platform, but this is AI in real life, improving the lives of real people in real estate industry. And the reason I wanted to show you is because a lot of talk around AI is that this is all just talk, and it actually does not do as much as the hype is. It's not just hype. Some of the tools that I showed you is clearly well and truly above what you have probably experienced. And some of the custom tools that we have created, like Insta AI, for example, does exactly that. It's a first of its kind in the industry. And as I said, we're building one for real estate industry as well, or real estate agents as well, which will be slightly similar to what we have done. But that's real use of AI to improve your efficiency and productivity. So that's all that I had today. If there are any questions, and one last thing, as I said, is that I am launching an AI Coach Academy. So if you are interested, it's AI Coach /Academy. You don't have to pay a dime today. All you have to do is just put your email, join the wait list. It'll probably be at under $100, and I'll be teaching the 12 top tools and tons of strategies and everything else that, I mean, I've probably spoken up 1% of what this course will be when it comes in. And that whatever it will be priced at, I don't know what will be priced at, but at under $100, you'll probably be able to get tens and thousands of dollars of ROI from it. So if you want, just put your email address there, or you can scan the QR code here. It doesn't matter which way you get there, but you can put your email and join the waitlist. And when the course launches sometime in May, you will be covered. So I'll stop the share now, and we'll take any questions.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to try I'm going to look at the data analyst. There's a lot of sales numbers I want to put in there. Take a look at that. Maybe can you put a P&L in there and it'll analyze it?
It will, yes.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Not just analyze it, then I think the beauty of this is not just going to the past data and giving you highlights, which is important as I was showing, but then start building predictive analytics onto it and ask about what does the future look like and on what you're basing that future, and what if some of those parameters were to change, and then what would the future look like? That's the beauty of data analytics, which is way better than just able to analyze the past data.
Yeah, and I definitely thought that your first video was one that you shot live versus the second one, which looked, very AI generated. So that was impressive.
It does. It's getting better, but you're right. I mean, AI videos will still probably look like AI videos. But the reason why I'm such a big fan and a proponent of the fact that you should get in now is because it's only going to get better. So if you're part of it, you will be part of that journey and will only get better over a period of time. Versus imagine trying to learn Hagen 6 months later when it has 50 new features by then, and it becomes much harder to learn all of that.
Right on.
But thank you so much for sticking with me. Again, I hope that the promise that I made at the beginning of the webinar, that I'm going to show you real tools with real life examples on not just theoretically how it can be used, but how we are already using it. Some of the people that I consult or coach to, they are already using it and seeing that progress in their real life. So thanks for watching. Yeah. And Tim and Drew, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this.
Have an awesome day and have a fantastic end of month for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Bye.